Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm here with Joe. How are you, Joe?
I'm all right, Perch. How are you?
Well, I'm sitting outside, so it's hot as hell here in Colorado, and hoping to get out of this. I don't know why I'm complaining. Anyway, there's some stuff that's going on with comics right now, right? A bunch of little things happening.
Did something happen this week?
Creators going here and there, and everybody is acting completely civilized and normal. It's all good. And also we were just talking about how some comics are doing. We are almost just about 2 weeks removed from I Am Not Starfire's debut.
Hmm?
How's that title doing, Joe?
On Amazon, at least, it's down to number 43 in Amazon's DC Comics and Graphic Novels bestsellers.
Huh. That's interesting. There was a lot of talk that this was what the entire DC lineup was going to convert to, and this was the wave of the future. But number 43, you say, after 2 weeks?
Yeah, after 2 weeks, it's all the way down there. There's books that are on pre. It's one above Nubia, Real One.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We're banging out together. So DC has basically launched then 42 other top new books that have to be burning up this charts. What's coming in at number one?
Number one is Watchmen.
Oh, okay. That's I think I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, good thing. Alan Moore will be happy to hear that. He'll get his royalties.
He loves talking about Watchmen.
He does. Yeah, absolutely. How? What's number two here?
Number two. This is going to blow people's minds because I think people aren't. You're not going to see this coming. It's a Batman Year One.
What? By known racist Frank Miller?
Yeah, I thought they got rid of him the other week, but it turns out he's selling a lot of Batman Year Ones here. They're just they're flying like
crazy,
right? Yeah. It's in the best-selling ranks. It's also number 4 in teen and young adult superhero comics in general, Marvel, DC, Independence, all that combined, and it's 3,407 in all of books.
All books.
All books on Amazon.
Huh. It seems like somebody who would sell that well, you would want to invite to a convention.
You'd probably want that because you'd be able to sell tickets, and a lot of people like to do things. I know it's crazy, but there's a lot of people out there who like to meet living legends.
Now, hold on a second. You're saying that the purpose of conventions is to sell tickets?
Some of these conventions, even some of the ones that are nonprofit, still need to make money.
Oh, that's weird. I thought it was like some kind of weird subsidy thing, but you say they're for profit. Interesting.
Yeah.
As I look down this list of other things for DC, we've got Batman Long Halloween at number 3 and Primer at number 4.
Yeah, Primer's been out over a year at this point.
That's fascinating. It's a 5-star book with over 1,000 reviews.
Yeah.
DC would have to be happy with that and give it multiple sequels, I would think.
You would. That's the no-brainer thing right there. But also you got to go number 3 with the Long Halloween. Jeff Loeb. We were all mad at Jeff Loeb for his racism, which was much more recent. Like
really? Okay.
In terms of they had multiple people came out talking about how he had made particularly anti-Asian comments about how they're not casting people in Daredevil and stuff like that. Like they're not going to be good villains. Like so, it was pretty bad. It wasn't the best. I don't think he ever responded to that officially, and then everyone forgot about it. But
I thought it was all about him making Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in love with each other back in Ultimates, and then having the Blob eat the Wasp. But it was
it was that other stuff.
Crazy.
I mean, none of that stuff is forgivable. But none of that mentioned. But yeah, and then friend of the show, Stephen. I'm going to butcher his name. The Harleen guy.
Stejak.
Yeah, Steve Jack. He's number 5.
Yes, congratulations to Stephen.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's a good book. It tells a complete story. It's really solid. So he should be very proud. It's interesting to see, but I don't think he's doing more work for DC right now. Like if I'm DC, I'm looking at this and I see Alan Moore, Frank Miller, Jeff Loeb, Primer by Thomas Kajowski. I've got Stefan with Harleen. I've got Jeff Johns here with Three Jokers at number 6.
But he was canceled.
That's weird. That's weird.
It's weird that came up, but that book's doing really well. I bet another publisher would love to do more stuff with Jeff Johns, and it's
it is
weird.
We've got 2 Alan Moore books in the top 10, 2 Frank Miller books in the top 10.
Dark Knight Returns makes it to number 10. We got Suicide Squad Volume 1, Trial by Fire. It's despite all of the runs of Suicide Squad that have happened since then, that's the one that after the movie really spiked.
Yep. It's an interesting list when you see this kind of stuff, but to me it seems kind of predictable, because the one thing I pick up from these books, there's a couple newer things on the list, but generally speaking, the stuff that stays on here has one common thread. The stories are all good, and the art's good, and you enjoy reading them.
Yeah, I mean, if you scroll down pretty quick, you're going to see Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, Tom Taylor, and Jeff Loeb are just over and over and over again. You're going to see those names, and now because of the movie, you're going to see there's a couple of volumes of Suicide Squad, and the other Suicide Squad one that's selling at number 26, Tom Taylor's Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Batman Urban Legends, Chip Zdarsky, Matthew Rosenberg, all that, that's selling, and that's one that has been getting hype.
I'm noticing here at number 32, we've got Katana Collins, the Harley Quinn White Knight series. So certainly they're probably doing more with her, I'm sure.
It'd be weird if they didn't. But Sweet Tooth Compendium, that's a TV show now too. That's up there. It's weird. A lot of people say that people that watch the movies aren't the ones reading the comics, and yet if you saw that and looked at this list, you look like a fucking idiot.
It's weird how that works,
right? Because it's very clear people are watching the movies and then buying the comics.
Yeah, there seems to be a one-to-one connection here, and we're talking pretty big volumes. Again, to kind of restate what you said about Frank Miller's Batman Year One, in the 3,000s for all books.
Yeah.
All the books, not comics, not graphic novels only, but all the books selling well. Again, they're definitely tied to movies here. I don't know. It's, what's funny about this is how unsurprising this list is. But if you read, social media, if you look at news sites, if you look at other things, they talk a lot about the exact opposite of what this picture tells you. But this picture tells you is easily predictable.
Yeah, and like we've talked about before, you got the YA books that are doing well are Primer, the Teen Titans related one, that Diana, Princess of the Amazons, that one has been on the list consistently very high. Superman Smashes the Klan, that one's seems like that's going to be one that lingers on this list in the top 50 for the foreseeable future.
It's I even see that super dated and nobody can parse his artwork. John Byrne has a comic here on the top 50 as well.
Yeah, a Man of Steel volume, and that's going to all go up again when they release the 4th volume, so that'll be a boost for all the sales there. Horrible Monster that so many people hate in comics. Mark Waid, Kingdom Comes up on this list.
Sure.
Turns out there are people that think he's a really good writer.
Well, it seems like it turns out that the stories that tell a complete story have good art, good writing, and it's something that you can pick up and enjoy and was popular at the time, seems to be selling well in 2020, even if it came out in the 90s or the 80s in some cases. Those comics still hold up. It's as if good comics tend to survive and cheap stunts tend to go away.
Yeah, it is really weird how that happens. Even in the top 100 here, the Dark Knight Returns like hardcover slipcase set is on here.
Sure.
I mean, it's it's weird how that works.
None of this seems that surprising. I mean, but shifting gears for a moment. So this week we had the announcement. We've got Substack coming out, and they're putting out comics. I want to get your writer, editor.
Sure.
First of all, when's your Substack deal getting announced, Joe?
Oh, I'm not at liberty to say because no one reached out to me yet. But but I don't know if I want to be on a white supremacist platform. So
I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
God damn. Why? So what has been kind of your just speaking off the cuff? I mean,
Sure.
what is your thought of Substack? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Too early to tell. What do you think it's going to do to comics?
My brother James was texting me, I think earlier today, was telling me, he's like, this sounds an awful lot like WCW. And that Ted Turner went around and got as many big names from at the time, WWF. Yeah. And it worked out for a few years until it didn't.
Yeah.
And that seems like a pretty close parallel to what's likely to happen.
Yeah.
I certainly wish success. I hope it works out. And that's not to say they won't keep changing and modifying and working towards making it all work. However, and I think you mentioned this as well, the probability for these sort of things is always more likely than not it's going to fail.
Yes.
And that's despite everyone's best efforts and intentions. But I think you're going to be, because of the nature of this, I'm not sure Substack's even going to be able to strike a deal with one publisher. I think you're going to have these different writers have their rights, and you're going to see stuff kind of go all over the place. Like, Hickman signed a full deal with Dark Horse, and then, Tynan's, is continuing to put out work through Boom, and has signed, an exclusive Boom contract for all his, Substacks.
So yeah. No, I agree. I think it's likely the back half of this feels like it's going to be very scattered. And so as time goes on, this feels a lot more like maybe a next generation Patreon. Is that kind of your take as well?
A bit, it's like I said, there's elements of it where it's like where it's I guess it's like mostly Patreon, but there are so many potential pitfalls here.
Yeah.
How many of these people are going to be able to deliver timely?
Mm-hmm.
I think Substack's going to find out fast that no one gets anything in on time.
Right.
Despite everyone's best efforts, it's all going to be late. Unless they actually paid them enough in advance where they are producing so much in advance where that's going to be like a 2023, 2024 problem.
It's possible, although I'm seeing James Tynion has 2 projects he says he's shipping this year. So in the next 5 months, that's aggressive, and he will be still wrapping up Batman and doing other things. So it seems like that's going to be tough for him to meet all those deadlines. But I mean, he seems to be okay. But again, you're talking about more than just him. This isn't a newsletter; it's him plus a team. And yeah, I worry about timeliness. I think that one of the areas that this seems very similar to crowdfunding is that with crowdfunding, we've seen some people be able to hit dates, and some people are massively late.
Yeah.
And the challenge there is that that's for one single project. Here you're talking about a subscription where every month you have to come to the table with new content. Feels like that's going to be a real challenge for some of these people.
It seems to be, although we don't really know page counts yet.
True.
It's possible that some of these projects are only going to be 10 pages a month.
If you're trying, but then that seems like it has a different problem, because if you're charging somebody a $7 a month subscription, or God help you, you sign up for the $250 line, and you're getting 10 pages a month, I think you're going to get kind of pissed pretty quickly.
Yeah, but if it's something like, James producing, maybe let's say he ends up producing like 6 comics total or whatever it is, and you're getting 60 pages a month, because you're getting 10 from each, then maybe I'm going to be interested to see how everyone goes about this, and if they're going to be playing with the platform, or if they're just going to be throwing up a standard page that they're going to send off to print.
I think is also, I'm curious about the business model, because let's say you get 100,000 people who sign up as subscribers, all paying $7. So let's say you're at 700,000 a month, which is a good number. I mean, that's great. Mm-hmm. Substack's going to take, I forget their cut, but it's substantial. It's not a small cut of that. But then the money is basically in the hands of the creator to parse out to an editor and a printer. I mean, there's a lot of business management here, and I question some of these people's abilities to be really good at that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem of doing something like this without some sort of structure. If you're just like, because what ends up happening a lot is if you're doing this and you're, providing your own editor, you're doing all this stuff, and it gets dicey. It might not be the best quality. You might not be getting people that are going to help you make the best product you can. You're going to be getting people that are going to make the project the most fun.
Right.
and sometimes that works, and a lot of times it doesn't.
Do you think in the other part of this is that you're signing up basically like with Hickman? You're signing up to the Hickman show. You're not signing up to a character or a project. You're signing up for Hickman. So it's a lot based on the personality of this one kind of individual. Same thing with James Tynion. You may like all of his work and you like his books, but you're signing up a bit sight unseen to him. So this is a bit of a different model, and you're signing up for a person.
Yeah.
And you're going all in with that person. And that person can change the business model. They can change the people involved. There's a lot of things that can happen here. Yeah. And it seems like it just seems like it's setting people up for a lot of either frustrations or disappointments. This is a lot of complexity. And again, I question if people are really ready for all this complexity, because Substack's not going to step in and help with that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to, unless they're rolling out some new staff or assignments that we haven't heard yet. But as of now, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I don't know if there's anything set up where if you don't deliver on time that you get someone from Substack being like, oh, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Where are those pages? So that's a thing. But to build further on your point, we've mentioned this before, but there's too much focus on creators and not enough on ideas.
Yeah.
And I think time and time again has proven people want ideas.
Yes.
They don't care as much about the creators. And I'm not trying to diss creators, but yeah, I am one. But
yeah,
people gravitate to ideas. And I think we keep getting proof over and over again that no, like, I like this story and this art, and I'm going to read that. And whoever's doing it is secondary for most people. If you're talking about a mainstream audience, there are comic insiders and people really in it who decide they're going to pick one, creator. They're going to follow someone. But like with Tom with Primer, it's not selling as well as it has been this past year because everyone's a huge Tom fan.
Right. Exactly.
And we got to stop with the egos and start realizing it's ideas that sell.
No, I agree. I mean, a different Tom Taylor, who did Injustice and then certainly did Deceased. The hook of Deceased was less, in my opinion, less Tom Taylor's writing it and more, hey, the DC universe has got zombies all over there and some people are going to get murdered and, what will happen? That seemed to be the main draw. If Tom Taylor takes his wares to Substack and says, hey, now you're signing up to the Tom Taylor show, I'm going to give you kind of whatever I'm interested in, feels like kind of like we saw with Image. That might work for a year or two, but eventually people are, from what I gather, the question Todd McFarlane gets the most is, it would really be nice if you could go back and draw some Spider-Man. And
Yeah.
I can't help but think that that's some of the same things going to happen here, where it's like we've seen Hickman has done independent work. He's done Decorum. It pales in comparison to his X-Men work. Is it really going to work for Hickman to go over and do this? And like you, I hope it does, because I think it's healthy if these things are successful, but it just feels like a bit of a long shot, and it's putting the emphasis in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's possible that they could even pivot along the way and make changes in real time. But yeah, like a lot of people who are big fans of like, Saga even, it's like a lot of those people, the fact that it's Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, particularly that it's like Brian K. Vaughan, it's secondary.
Yes.
That's not, people weren't like, oh man, I loved Runaways and Ex Machina and Why the Last, I have to get Saga. There were people like that, but there are more people like, maybe me and you and other people that are at shops a lot, or is really that like smaller core of comics. Most people just want to read a good book. And I think that we keep getting this wake-up call over and over again, but we keep hitting the snooze alarm.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is bizarre that the comics business keeps just repeating the same things over and over again. And to kind of emphasize your point, one of the things that used to happen in conventions at DC, and they were kind of crediting the I do not remember the person who used to make this point, and you'll know the answer to this. But one of the questions they used to ask in these panels was, who was a creative team behind The Killing Joke, writer and artist?
Yeah.
And what they found was most of the people could get the writer, but less than half of the audience could get the artist.
Which is a sin, because Brian Boland is one of the greatest geniuses in the arts of our time.
Absolutely. It's amazing art. But the point that was trying to be made was people, it was the story of the Joker and the Batman and this bigger than life kind of story that, and with very immersive art. And everybody who would come up would say the art is amazing, just really one of some of the best rendered Batman ever. But the artist's name gets forgotten. And there's been other examples I've seen where the writer's name gets forgotten and everything else. But
of course,
it's the experience. It's the story. It's what's going on in the pages that tends to ignite people's imaginations. And I think if you're now going to sell creators like streaming services, it feels like that's, again, I hope it works. It just feels like a long shot.
Yeah, it almost feels like, subscribing to a genre channel or something like that would make more sense. But then it's like, how do you even parse that? Like, I guess the pay models and stuff like that, it's going to take a while to figure it all out. But, I mean, no one signs up for like a movie streaming service. Like, even if you got, like the Tarantino streaming service, you can get all his movies at any time, and he's going to upload a 10-minute short every month. It's like, even that is like, you're only going to get such a small number of people to subscribe to something like that.
It also feels like there's a challenge in that you'll get people who will follow Tinian or Hickman or these people. You'll get people who follow them to this. But how do you grow that audience? The 50,000 Tinian fans will go to Substack. How do you get the 60,000 fans? How do you get 80,000 fans? How do you grow it? Are you relying on the word of mouth? I mean, it feels like that's going to be another major challenge, is how are you going to keep growing that audience when you're going off of a name? But it's an interesting time in comics. I look forward to your announcement of your Substack deal. Got to get that going.
Right. But no, I mean, I think the other thing too with this is it is going to be nearly impossible to keep that, because if it's like a James Tynion channel, for example, you're going to have different artists on different books. There, people are going to be like, I like the art on this one. I don't like the art on this one. I'll go a la carte and just buy the one I want to read. And that's going to happen. I wish we had a way to analyze some of this stuff, because the numbers just don't exist. But I'd love to be able to be like, how much of a crossover is there between people reading like Department of Truth and Something's Killing the Children? And I feel like there might be a larger gap than we are acting like there is.
I think there is. I think there is a larger gap, and I think we're going to kind of see that play out. I also think you're going to get this interesting phenomenon of people who are, for lack of a better word, Substack waiting, and they're just going to wait for whenever the print volume comes out.
Yeah.
And the challenge of that is that if you're running a subscription service like this, that's held very closely by the creator, if they're not getting kind of money up front that's going to fund them for 9 or 12 months later when the trade eventually comes out into print, that seems like another problem that we're going to see hit. But
absolutely.
But it's interesting times. Joe, we got to get back. We're going to grab Pat Shand and do a live stream here soon.
That'd be great. Pat's great, and we can talk about how all these people screaming on social media are jealous.
Perfect. I love it.
No, it's because come on, it's not everyone. I don't want to broad brush, but there's some personal and professional jealousy out there. Don't let people fool you.
There's no small amount of idiots right now.
And just like Amazon's terrible, but also publishes comics and people writing off, oh, I won't work for this person, that person, because I'm just a noble, and it's not because they won't return my calls or emails.
For one. Yeah. Hey, Joe, thank you very much, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you.